out ahead of this system. Our dew point still very high, which helps to support a lot of the severe weather development. We've been seeing them around 55 degrees and a little bit higher, and that's typically where you'd start to see severe thunderstorm warnings, and those severe thunderstorms can then eventually evolve into these tornado warnings. We've been clear of most of the tornado warnings here locally in central Illinois. Earlier today, this afternoon, we saw a confirmed tornado up around the Peoria area, and it does look like some of these cells, that they kind of continue to progress further off towards the east, northeast, they have kind of strengthened up a little bit more, where we have been picking up on more of that rotation, and we have also started to get our own tornado warnings here locally. Like you said, Matt, that area in far eastern Douglas County, that's pretty much our area of concern. You can see that pink inside this area of rotation is what we're kind of focusing in on right now. So again, we have a confirmed tornado on the ground. If you are in the path of this storm and around northwestern Edgar County, and even now around southern Vermilion County, this is going to be the time where we want you to take action. Like Matt was saying earlier, get to the most interior part of your home, your basement if you have that. If you don't have a basement, yes, put as many walls, layers between you and the outside as you can. Avoid those windows. If you need be, you can cover yourself with a mattress, or you can even get some blankets if you can. But flying debris, definitely a leading cause of injuries, especially in storms like this, when we're talking about winds around 70 miles per hour and can even get a little bit stronger as well. Storm relative velocity still picking up east of the Newman area, so now kind of showing it crossing over into far northwestern Edgar County. That's going to be our area where we're kind of focusing in on with that rotation. Debris detector, Matt's calling it correlation coefficient. It's pretty much same thing. We're looking for things in the radar that are not raindrops. Rain's going to be picked up as that red. We're going to start to see other colors starting to mix in there as well, and that gives us an indication that we're picking up other things in that radar picture that are either dust, dirt, debris, something that tornado is kind of picking up in its circulation and moving it along as it continues its track. But it does look like we had a pretty clear sign when that storm was a little bit further off towards the southwest, but now it's kind of almost getting lost a little bit. We're on the in Illinois, kind of starting to get that crossover as we're getting into almost Indianapolis radar territory, but we can try and get a little bit more of a clear picture. I'm going to see if we can kind of jump over into Indianapolis and see if maybe they're getting a better picture on what we're seeing. So let me go over into our radar sweep and see if we can kind of get that crossover starting to happen. But let me see what I can do. Okay, so now we're switching over to Indianapolis. So we started to get that picture, a little bit of what's moving towards their radar site. And again, we're getting towards the fringe of our local radar here in Logan County. So now we're getting data from Indianapolis to our east, but yeah, very hard to kind of pick up. But this is kind of what we were seeing as far as our storm velocity, that rotation within the clouds. But this kind of is going to be the area that we're focusing on, as we did kind of see that movement over into northwestern Edgar County. So debris detector kind of starting to fall off a little bit more, especially as we're getting between those radar sites. Let's jump over. I'm going to see if we've got the newest storm reports from the National Weather Service. Sorry, I'm trying to read and think at the same time, and so doesn't really look like we've got a new report. let's go back over to our radar picture. So again, this is the area we're currently focusing on. It's going to be right around Newman, Young America. We're getting into that area where it's starting to exit Douglas County. We're now talking about northwestern Edgar County and into southern Vermilion County. So again, if you're in the path of this storm, if you're around southern Vermilion County, Seidel, Georgetown, Ridge Farm, Fairmount, even up around the Danville area, now's when you're going to want to start to think about getting into your safe space. This storm was moving at 45 miles per hour at its last check. I'm going to see if we have a most recent update. Still, our most recent update has come at 4:58 p.m. So it does look like nothing new to report so far. So we are purely just seeing what we can pick up based on our radar pictures here. But hail size, about 3/4 of an inch. We were seeing winds around 60, 70 miles per hour in with this cell. And it does still look like some of the worst of it still right on that border, east of Newman, west of New America in Edgar County. So this is what we're focusing on. You've kind of got this little bit of a hook signature west of the Young America area right now, but it does look like we've started to kind of see that correlation coefficient, that debris detection kind of fall off a little bit more, maybe a sign that this is kind of starting to weaken a little bit, but we still have our tornado warning, tornado emergency in effect for about the next 15 minutes or so. So this storm still very strong, but I think as it kind of starts to exit this polygon, yes, you can see now we're starting to see our newest radar picture does look like it is kind of losing steam the further northeast it goes, and it's kind of starting to even push its way out of our polygon area. Matt, you got any new updates for you? What are you seeing?
Yeah, Darren, right now we're keeping an eye on multiple things. This is the only storm right now that we have a tornado warning with. The velocity hasn't really been too impressive. We were seeing definitely better conditions with this storm earlier when we were at least had it confirmed on the ground. There's some very broad rotation being picked up on our velocity right now. And like you said, we're not really getting much on that debris detector. So what we're seeing right here on your screen, we're getting the greens that are going towards the radar. That's all the way in Lincoln, way out in this direction. We got the reds that are going away from the radar as well. So that's showing a little bit of broad rotation. It's definitely not as strong as it was earlier, as now we're even outside of that warning box for the most part. So this severe thunderstorm warning in this area does have a tornado possible tag included, and that likely means that the confidence of this storm continuing to produce a tornado has decreased from a tornado warning, but is still possible just because of how broad this rotation is. Looking back at our debris detector correlation coefficient, you're seeing a little bit here, not too much, and that could even be some hail being picked up on radar as well. Is definitely not as strong as we were seeing earlier. I'll rewind the radar so you get a better grasp of what we were looking at maybe 10 to 15 minutes ago. Another thing that we got to keep an eye on here in Springfield, the winds have been crazy strong. Can we pull up our tower cam real quick in the Springfield area? We got pretty much a dust storm almost coming through the area. Our tower cam is shaking like crazy, so the winds are starting to pick up here as well. We're not in the tornado watch anymore in Springfield, actually. Springfield, Sangamon County, Menard, and Logan County, you guys are in the clear for the severe weather for the rest of the day. Those watches have been canceled. Looking back at a couple scans ago, we were seeing that uptick in that debris detector, especially just south of Newman. And as it went to the northeast, it looked like that debris kind of dissipated, meaning that the rotation is kind of stopped. The tornado looked like it lifted. It might have upticked a little bit right here, just north of Young America. But going back on our velocity, we're not seeing a whole lot, maybe just a little bit of spin here as well next to Carroll, so we got to keep an eye on it as well. Right now, looks like this tornado warning isn't going to continue, as most of this rotation is actually out of the area. So we'll keep an eye on it as we go throughout the next few hours. But or next 30 minutes or so, as this will expire in 10 minutes, and they just canceled the tornado warning. So the tornado warning for Douglas, Coles, and Edgar County has been canceled. You still have the severe thunderstorm warning in the area with the tornado possible tag, and it's considerable. So please keep an eye on this storm. Definitely go indoors. Let's go out to our other sides of our area while we're still on the air. Taking a look at some of these other warnings. We got radar indicated strong wind gusts out towards all the way up in Ford County, but looking at DeWitt County right now, we are seeing still strong wind gusts within some of these storms, and that one just expired. So we just got this one severe thunderstorm warning in our area, and that is in for portions of Vermilion and Edgar County right now. It is still with a tornado possible tag, so something you need to keep an eye on. Definitely go indoors, stay away from windows, because we're still getting wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. You can see it on this confirmation up here. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts within this storm going towards Georgetown. Let's see if we could get those stronger wind gusts on our velocity. There's where we're keeping an eye on with that stronger wind gusts right now. Just west of Georgetown. This looks like it's going probably just west of Westville, taking its aim towards the Danville area. So Danville, you need to be keeping in mind of strong wind gusts coming towards your area as this storm has kind of fallen apart in the tornado aspect, but still producing some hail up to 1 inch in size, so quarter-size hail, but as well as very strong wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. So something to keep an eye on, but the tornado warning has discontinued at this time. And I'll send it back over to Darren Lees. Darren, you seeing anything else from the National Weather Service or anything else with this storm?
Yeah, and Matt, you pretty much hit it on the head. We are starting to see this storm weaken as it's coming into southern Vermilion County. We're starting to see those rainfall rates pick up around the Danville area. That hail core still looks like it is in far southwestern Vermilion County, this area in white here. And Chrisman in northern Edgar County, you guys just missed this storm as it kind of just scraped to your west currently. But looking at what we've been picking up as far as what this storm is currently doing, it did look like we're seeing the rotation kind of drop off on this a little bit, but our surrounding cells that are down around Clark and over in Douglas County, we're also picking up on rotation within these couple of cells as well. And as Matt was saying, they're still carrying, when we do get these severe thunderstorm warnings, we get these tornado tags, meaning these storms are capable of producing a tornado. Right now, we don't have severe thunderstorm warnings in effect on these still. It's just the one that is making its way into southern Vermilion County. But we have still seen these storms continue to kind of strengthen up as they've worked their way from the southwest up here into the northeast. We've still got ideal conditions for these storms to develop and intensify a little bit, but we've been picking up on those 70-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch diameter hail size, and it does sound like we are seeing emergency management crews around Coles County and around parts of Edgar County are going to kind of survey the damage from what we kind of just watched roll through Coles, Douglas, and far northwestern Edgar County when it was under that tornado emergency. So we've still got that severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 6:15. Make sure you're keeping up to date on everything developing for the rest of this evening here on air News Channel 20 and online newschannel20.com. We'll be right back after this break.
break. In the weather, of course, we had that going on, but we do want to tell you the important news of the day. The Illinois Homeschool Act, the controversial legislation, is now advancing. That's despite a historic amount of witness slips filed in opposition. Bill's sponsor, Representative Tara Costa Howard, says she's speaking for children who don't have adequate education at home.
Education is a fundamental right for every child. However, we know that loopholes exist, and we have a duty to ensure that children actually receive an education and that they don't fall through the cracks of our system.
The measure requires homeschool parents to report the state they homeschool, along with other requirements. Enough time to get done.
I would like to just see the bill die. I would absolutely like to see the Democrats in the House tell Tara Costa Howard, this is not a good idea for us and we don't want to be on it. Let it go.
Nearly 42,000 people filed witness slips in opposition to that homeschool bill. The 1,000 just filed in support. And for this week's Women Without Limits, we're highlighting not just one woman, but instead an event that showcases a multitude of women. These women are finally getting their chance to be heard through music. The Springfield Choral Society will be putting on concerts March 21st and 22nd that tell the tales of admirable women in history from all over the globe, but also women of Springfield.
It's just a second in history since women didn't have the opportunities that we have now. And now they're getting to tell their story through our music.
You can see this full story coming up on News Channel 20 at 6. Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see you back here as needed.
Before the roundtable, Governor Pritzker visited the University of Illinois Soybean Innovation Lab. Workers there were laid off after President Trump cut funding to the U.S. Agency for International Development. Governor Pritzker said he is calling for
News Channel 20 at 6.
Tonight on News Channel 20 at 6, after a few tornado warnings already, we're seeing the chance for severe weather all across our viewing area. What you can expect as we head into the evening hours.
Plus, why tens of thousands of Illinoisans are making their voices heard in opposition to the Homeschool Act.
And hear from Governor Pritzker as he kicks off his Standing Up for Illinois tour today. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Dawn Sterling.
And I'm Eliza Petrie. Some potentially severe weather hitting our viewing area as we are already seeing very high winds.
Now let's send it over to our meteorologist Darren Leeds, who has a look at what's in store for the rest of this evening. Darren, you've been busy.
Yeah, and Dawn, Eliza, I think some of the worst is already behind us as the more significant line of storms is pushing its way over into western Indiana. However, we do have a couple more severe thunderstorm warnings popping up. This one in effect for DeWitt, Macon, Moultrie, and Piatt counties with this next line of cells that's currently west of Decatur, east of Lincoln right now. We did see the hail kind of dropping off just in the last half hour, but now we're starting to see 1-inch hail reported, 60-mile-per-hour winds, and the same for the cell that is pushing its way over into far western Shelby County, also starting to pick up on that hail track once again. We have begun to see some of the tornado watches specifically around Logan, Sangamon County get dropped, but remaining in effect for the rest of our counties east of I-55 until 9 p.m. this evening. Wind advisory continues into tomorrow morning, and we are going to be seeing this rain transition into some light snow overnight. We got more rain in that forecast. We'll take a look at that in a few minutes.
Crazy, right?
Snow, I'm like, I didn't even know
What?
that was going to
Snow?
happen. Well, with that severe weather in the area, as Darren mentioned, some towns have been seeing that hail.
That's right. Our Spencer Davis joins us now in Mechanicsburg, having seen it firsthand. Spencer.
I've talked to multiple members of the Mechanicsburg community, and all of them said the hail only lasted for about 15 minutes. However, during my time here, I've seen the pea-sized hail restart and managed to get my hands on a chunk until it melted. Mechanicsburg Fire Chief Jason Jarrett saw it from the start.
It looked like it almost snowed, but it was here and gone. No, as far as I know, and I drove around town a little bit, and I did not see any damage from, or hear of any damage to any residential homes or anything.
It was sunny and hailed for about 15 minutes as the storm passed. I got here as well, but for now, reporting from Mechanicsburg, Spencer Davis, back to you.
Thanks, Spencer. Our team will continue to provide coverage of the weather throughout our shows and online.
And now inside the State House, legislation has been introduced to address human trafficking in Illinois. Sponsors of the bill say they aim to address human trafficking in the state through a victim-centered, trauma-informed approach. The bill's sponsor, State Senator Julie Morrison, says human trafficking is happening all around us.
Whether it's a massage parlor in Springfield that has been indicated, or whether it is labor practices in Chicago, human trafficking is everywhere.
Illinois State Police Director Brendan Kelly says to combat human trafficking, it must be brought out into the open and into the light.
Because human trafficking can come in many forms, from commercial sex acts to forced labor, and can happen almost anywhere. It's important to have a comprehensive statewide approach that involves collaboration.
The measure would expand training for staff in the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services and other state agencies to help identify and assist victims, with an emphasis on youth in the state care.
In education, hundreds of homeschool families were in Springfield today to oppose the Illinois Homeschool Act. News Channel 20's Emily Jordan was at the hearing and the protests this morning. She joins us now with updates.
Representatives voted to move the bill forward Wednesday morning. More than 100 people crowded the Capitol building this morning in protest of the bill. Supporters of the bill say it's a measure that will protect children and homeschooling families. Some testified today that some homeschooling families use Illinois' lax laws to keep kids in abusive situations.
Growing up homeschooled in Illinois by parents who didn't have the supports that they needed to be able to home educate responsibly in a way that was prioritizing their kids' safety and educational development.
But opposition says the bill oversteps and infringes on parental rights. Officials say Illinois previously had very little regulation over homeschooling. Both sides agreed during the hearing that child safety in educational settings is a priority across partisans. Reporting, I'm Emily Jordan. Back to you.
Thank you, Emily. And now around Illinois, Governor J.B. Pritzker kicking off his Standing Up for Illinois tour right here in central Illinois. His focus today, standing up for Illinois farmers. Our Brianna Moreland attended the roundtable and has details on what Governor Pritzker says people can do to take action. Brianna?
Wednesday, Governor Pritzker and Congresswoman Nikki Bazinski joined a roundtable with farmers and environmental leaders in Urbana. The event highlighted Governor Pritzker's concern about the harm President Trump and Elon Musk are causing to the Illinois family farms, along with the agriculture industry and those relying on USDA programs for support. Farmers in attendance share their concerns, saying federal funding cuts are hurting local economies. Governor Pritzker says farming is under attack by our country's leaders.
Frankly, farming, as all of you know, is a way of life in Illinois. It's an important one. That it's a bedrock of our economy. It's the backbone of many of our communities, and it's a tradition that gets passed down by families for many generations. It's a way of life, but it's a way of life that's under attack right now.
Before the roundtable, Governor Pritzker visited the University of Illinois Soybean Innovation Lab. Workers there were laid off after President Trump cut funding to the U.S. Agency for International Development. Governor Pritzker says he's calling for mass activism, urging people to protest, speak up, and make their voices heard by members of Congress and the Senate. Working for you, I'm Brianna Moreland.
Thank you, Brianna. Governor Pritzker will continue his tour across Illinois. He says he is also standing up for seniors, infrastructure, and Medicaid.
The Illinois Department of Natural Resources announcing $8 million for improvements to Lincoln's New Salem State Historic Site. The money will help continue the recently completed upgrades to the site where our 16th president lived from 1831 to 1837. The area is one of 56 historic sites managed by IDNR and attracted more than 350,000 visitors in 2024.
And now in your community, Champaign County welcoming trade workers from across the state as it plays host to the Illinois Trade Competition. Apprentices who won local competitions will compete in written tests and hands-on skills as they solve complicated projects. A banquet will be held announcing the winners in plumbing, welding, pipe fitting, sprinkler fitting, and HVAC work. They will then head to a regional competition in Iowa to represent Illinois and potentially advance to the international competition. And the Macon County Health Department holding a pop-up farmers market and health fair today. It was put on in partnership with Aetna Better Health as a way to give residents access to fresh produce and health resources. The first 100 attendees received a free bag of produce.
Illinois State University police are excited to announce their newest team member, Poffiker Korg. How cute is that? Look at him. He's a trained therapy dog dedicated to providing comfort and support to students, faculty, and staff. Korg received more than 1,200 hours of certified training before his placement. He'll officially arrive on campus on March 21st.
I love it. Well, still ahead, why some are saying the protests against Tesla are starting to go too far.
And in tonight's Women Without Limits, we highlight not one person, but a whole event that showcases many different women.
For this week's Women Without Limits, we are highlighting not just one woman, but instead an event that showcases a multitude of women who are finally getting their chance to be heard through music. Singing songs for the unsung.
I think people don't realize how it's just a second in history since women didn't have the opportunities that we have now. And now they're getting to tell their story through our music.
The Springfield Choral Society will be putting on concerts March 21st and 22nd that celebrate women of every decade. And it is all happening at First Presbyterian Church.
Our church is very important for us to be a visible part of the community and especially be supportive of the arts.
On the first night, the concert will focus on telling stories of 6 local women who once walked the streets of Springfield.
Most people may not have ever heard these names. Nobody knew how cool they were at the time.
One of those local women being showcased is Nellie Brown Duff, an ambitious journalist from the early 1900s.
But she wasn't just a journalist, she was an aviatrix and bought her own plane. And there's a famous story about her flying along the grandstand at the Illinois State Fair and releasing a box of homing pigeons that were supposed to bring messages to politicians that were in the crowd.
Then the second evening takes a look at female artists and composers from a global scale, featuring music from the 1600s to now.
It's something for everyone that everybody listening is going to relate to. Maybe it's something from their own history, from their grandparents' history that they remember listening to, or something they just heard on the radio, like driving to the concert.
This concert series is centered around one main theme, giving a voice to women who may have once been voiceless.
The segment Women Without Limits, many of these composers were in fact women with limits, in the sense that they were fighting against unbelievable barriers to living out their fullest artistic selves.
Throughout the ages, women have words to share and they have their skills to share and their artistry. And this is such a unique opportunity. I really hope we can pack the place, so please come, everybody.
And on top of the concerts on both Friday and Saturday, the Tana Thomas House will be offering musical tours throughout the day on Saturday in honor of the Songs for the Unsung series. For more information and a link to buy yourself a ticket to these inspiring shows, visit our website. And if there is a woman that you would like to see featured in our next Women Without Limits, scan the QR code there on your screen or email us at women@newschannel20.com.
All right, we're taking a live look over the capital city tonight with our Flooring America tower camera. It looks just still cloudy out there, but really nothing on this side of the viewing area to speak of besides those fierce winds. We're going to check back in with meteorologist Darren Leeds and see if we need to be worried about anything when it comes to
against Elon Musk targeting Tesla has gone too far?
Yeah, some are now calling the attacks potential domestic terrorism. National correspondent Kayla Gaskins joins us from Washington.
Cars lit on fire at a Tesla dealership in Las Vegas. Police say the suspect used Molotov cocktails. The word resist spray painted across the front doors.
Tried to bring accountability to the person or persons responsible as quickly as possible.
Days earlier, 4 cyber trucks set on fire at a dealership outside Seattle. These, the latest in a string of attacks on Tesla dealerships and cars since the company's CEO Elon Musk's foray into politics.
You know, Democrats were supposed to be the party of empathy, the party of caring, and yet they're burning down cars.
Tesla dealerships have become go-to spots for demonstrations, both nonviolent and violent, to protest DOGE cuts and Musk's unconventional role in this administration.
It turns out when you take away people's, the money they're receiving fraudulently, they get very upset, and they basically want to kill me.
DOGE has reportedly identified $115 billion so far in what they call wasteful spending of taxpayer dollars. The cuts spurring massive layoffs. The Pentagon now slashing 60,000 civilian jobs. The IRS planning to cut 18,000 employees. 10,000 U.S. postal workers set to be let go. And the VA planning to cut 80,000 positions. Sinclair's Como in Seattle spoke with Devin Hermanson, who helped organize some protests. He says their group is
then they're going to start acting out in ways that sometimes we don't like. And I don't want that, but I can understand where it comes from.
U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi addressed the Tesla attacks, calling them nothing short of domestic terrorism, promising severe consequences for those involved. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
We want to hear from you. Do you think alleged violent Tesla protesters should face domestic terrorism charges? Head to our website and answer our question of the day.
The Storm Team Weather Desk, sponsored by Route 66 Solar.
Well, still looking at a little bit of some thunderstorm activity around central Illinois right now. Some of the stronger, more significant storm activity pushing its way over into western Indiana. A lot of these storms starting to kind of lose steam a little bit. Does look like west of Macon County areas are in the clear, but we do still have 2 current severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now for DeWitt, Macon, over into Piatt, Moultrie counties, and even far northern Shelby County. We've still been picking up on wind gusts around 60 miles per hour with these cells, and also it's starting to pick up a little bit of some hail track as well. Right now around 1 inch in diameter. That puts it around 1/4 in size. And it looks like the one that we had in Shelby County now just got canceled. But this line of storms still currently pushing its way into Shelbyville right now. This entire line is going to be working its way over into our I-57 corridors through Champaign, Douglas, Coles, and even Cumberland County. Likely have one more wave before we start to see some calmer conditions return for the remainder of the evening. But yes, that is all we've got left here in central Illinois. We remain under those tornado watches until 9 p.m., but likely once this final band starts to kind of clear its way out, we'll begin to watch those watches get dropped a little bit early, I think. So it does look like it is kind of set to impact I-57 corridor closer to about 7:30 this evening. Things calmer, and we're likely going to see another round of some very light rain as we're getting closer to 10 o'clock this evening. We'll then see that rain transition into some snow as this colder air gets tapped into as that low pressure center starts to work its way off to our east, and then drier conditions coming back into Thursday, although it is going to be our coolest day in the extended forecast. Winds not really going to be calming down much. We're seeing them shift overnight tomorrow morning, still between about 35 to 45 mile per hour gust speeds, and going into the afternoon, winds still remaining fairly breezy out there, 25 to 35 mile per hour at their strongest. Does look like things still ramping up, going back into our Friday forecast, coming back in out of the southwest, but that should help to at least warm our temperatures up a little bit more. Tonight's forecast has our numbers falling right around that freezing mark. And again, we're coming off a couple 70-degree days. Any snow that's falling should melt off pretty quickly. I'm not really expecting any accumulation here around central Illinois. Temperatures continue to do a roller coaster ride throughout our extended forecast. 60s Friday, back into the 50s for our weekend. Another round of some light rain on Sunday. And then we should be drier, much calmer for next week.
Thanks, Aaron. Coming up in sports, as the spring sports season starts, we catch up with one of our 2024 standout programs.
Now, the News Channel 20 Sports Desk, sponsored by Route 66 Solar.
Now tonight in sports, we keep going with our girls soccer season kickoff, checking with some of last season's standout programs. And we caught up with Sacred Heart Griffin yesterday, and tonight we talk with the Titans as we checked in with the two-way sectional champions. Now, the Titans opened up the new season with a win last night. Were forced inside due to some weather today. However, as Glenwood begins their 2025 campaign, it's an opportunity for them to reach 5 straight super sectionals. Now, they've already noticed an impact in the early season of their seniors, the experience they bring, as well as a new crop of Titan soccer talent.
A lot of returning people also, and then the freshmen that did come in are helping us a lot. So I think that we have like the perfect mix of people.
Like I said, last night showed some real good blending of both of them, and we hope we can continue to grow as a team and be as dangerous this year as we were last year.
And with their win last night, the Loggers punched their ticket into the quarterfinals of the NJCAA National Championship. And tonight they take on the 6th seed in the tournament, Pinema. And now the winner, they get a day off and will play the winner of tomorrow's quarterfinal between Essex and Lakeland on Friday night. So their game will tip off tonight at 8 p.m. Central. They take on the tournament 6th seed. Now Pima, they beat North Central Missouri yesterday by 9 points in what was the 6th seed versus the 11th seed. Now winner not only gets a day off, but is into the NJCAA D2 women's basketball semifinals. So later on tonight, we'll have more Glenwood, more loggers, a little bracketology from Carson and myself breaking down our Elite Eights for the NCAA tournament. But for now, that does it for sports. I'm Sammy St. Jean.
Winds remaining very gusty across the region. The good news is none of the snow tonight is going to stick. Temperatures bounce into the 60s by Friday.
Thanks for watching.
See you back here at 10.
Good night.